Some people are like books. What you read on the cover is never the story unfolding inside. And sometimes, the quietest pages hide the most dangerous truths. Boston, Massachusetts. A quiet winter evening. Inside room 217, a young woman sat wrapped in silence, lost yet fully aware. Morgan Quinn, a final-year cybersecurity student, ordinary at first glance until you looked into her eyes. Her eyes didn't just look. They measured, weighed, judged. As if somewhere deep inside her a question was always running, even when the world was quiet. Her fingers moved across the keyboard like code was her native language. Not learned, remembered. "Emily, doesn't something feel strange?" Morgan said to Emily. Emily Carter, Morgan's closest friend. An IT expert with a laugh that hid far more than it revealed.
What happened? Did you find a bug? This folder, xcrypt_folder_327, it shouldn't exist on the university server.
It was just a folder, but some things don't need to scream to be dangerous. It didn't belong there, and both of them knew it. Some secrets wear nothing but silence, and while they stared at the screen, someone else was watching the same thing. New York City. A man dressed in black looking down at the city as if it already belonged to him. Adrian Shaw. A face that looked like a shadow even in the light. No emotion, only control.
Xcrypt is blinking again.
Those who claim to save the world are often its greatest enemies.
The security lab was silent, not empty, just listening. Morgan sat down, not to break the system, but to understand it.
May I?
Ethan Miller, a visiting researcher, familiar yet somehow out of place. His presence felt reassuring, and that was the problem. Comfort is rarely accidental.
Morgan, I heard you found something unusual on the server?
The interface stopped exactly when the trace connected to the external server.
They didn't just stop the process, they froze the entire log file remotely.
Are you sure you want to open this?
The question wasn't technical, it was personal. Somewhere far below the city, lights shifted. Systems aligned, eyes opened. Adrian Shaw was alone, yet surrounded by hundreds of breathing entities, screens, codes, maps of invisible worlds. Morgan Quinn traced, mapped, understood. Not as a person, but as a pattern. Adrian smiled, not with joy, with recognition. Back in the cyber lab, the room felt different now. Not hostile, just aware. Morgan leaned closer to the screen. She wasn't chasing answers, she was listening for them. Some systems don't break, they respond. This wasn't just a hacking attempt. It was the beginning of a psychological war. Some doors are not meant to be opened. They don't lead forward. They pull you inside and never let you leave the same. Whatever that folder was, it didn't feel random.
What did I run?
You finally opened the door, Morgan. There's no turning back now.
Let the game begin.
A rare kind of mind, one that erased its footprints while moving forward. She had entered the maze. By the time they reached the cafeteria, the day had moved on. The noise returned.
That guy, Ethan. His eyes said one thing, but his words said another. I couldn't find him in the admin portal. No file. Not even in the student list.
Then what was he doing on campus?
Students talked, laughed. Morgan and Emily sat quietly somewhere else entirely. And then the cafeteria doors opened, and a familiar stranger walked in. His eyes didn't search the room. They found Morgan immediately. What followed didn't feel dramatic. No alarms, no confrontation, just a quiet sense that something had shifted. By nightfall, Morgan was alone again, back where she felt most in control, or so she thought. The email looked ordinary, professional, legitimate. That's how traps work. They never look like traps. An internship task, priority access, a chance to prove herself. Morgan didn't hesitate, she clicked. And the moment she did, the system responded. Not with resistance, with interest. Emily felt it before she saw it. A pattern that didn't belong, not an attack, observation. Someone wasn't breaking in. They were watching, learning. Emily didn't panic, she adapted. Because this wasn't her first war, just her quietest one. Morgan never saw how close it came, how thin the line was. Some dangers pass silently because someone else steps in the way. The system stabilized. Morgan was safe. Emily was not. When you interfere with a design that precise, it always notices. Somewhere far below the city, a decision was made. Not out of anger, out of curiosity. Emily understood it instantly. She hadn't just blocked a trap. She had revealed herself. Every system remembers certain names, even the ones you bury. Morgan slept peacefully, unaware. Emily stayed awake, exposed, and somewhere in the dark, someone smiled. Emily sat alone in a quiet cafe. Rain traced thin lines down the glass, softening the city outside. People passed by, unaware, uninvolved. Her fingers moved across the phone screen, but her mind was somewhere else, somewhere older, somewhere she hadn't visited in years. There are parts of us we don't erase. We only archive them. Emily had once belonged to a world that didn't exist on maps, a place where names were disposable and identities were tools. Back then, she wasn't Emily Carter. She was something else, a handle, a signature, a ghost in the system. The phone vibrated. The app on her screen was one she hadn't opened in years, encrypted, buried, supposedly forgotten. A single line appeared. "Hello again, miss me." Emily's breath caught. Because there was only one person who used that tone, only one presence that never announced itself loudly. He didn't need a name. He existed between systems, inside patterns, in the places people never looked. History remembered him even when records didn't. She checked the time, 6:43, and then she felt it. A shadow appeared in the cafe doorway, calm, unhurried. He didn't scan the room, didn't search. He walked straight toward her and sat down without asking. "You didn't need to look for me," he said quietly. "You left the trail yourself." Emily didn't respond. Her hands moved beneath the table, muscle memory activating, alert patterns, emergency routes, habits built for escape. He noticed and smiled. "You haven't changed, he said, still planning exits while pretending to listen." She looked up at him then, not with fear, not with hesitation, with clarity. "What do you want?" she asked. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he leaned back slightly comfortable. "In simple terms," he said, "two things. One, don't stop Morgan. And two, don't wake your past again." Emily's jaw tightened. "And if I do?" she asked. He reached into his coat and placed something small on the table. A chip, ordinary at first glance, anything but. "This," he said calmly, "is the recording from when you cracked a firewall protected by the United Nations. You thought that secret was buried. It wasn't." For the first time that night, Emily felt it. The past not as memory but as weight. He leaned closer now. "You think you're protecting her," he said softly. "But all you're really doing is opening a path." He stood, straightened his coat, and as he turned to leave, he added, "Next time come alone. Or don't come at all." Emily remained seated, staring at the chip. One thought echoed in her mind. "I started this game once, but this time I won't run." Dr. Harris didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Some warnings are heavier when spoken calmly. What you're facing isn't a project, he said. It's a system that doesn't forgive curiosity. Morgan listened, not afraid, not eager, just aware that the rules had changed. Emily stayed quiet because she already knew the name of what was coming. Some enemies don't chase you, they wait. And somewhere underground, Adrian felt it. Not a threat, not resistance, recognition. Two minds entering the same maze from opposite ends. This was no longer about data or access. It was about control, about who blinks first. Morgan stood at the edge of it. Emily guarded the line. Adrian watched patiently. 3 choices, 3 positions, and a game that had finally revealed itself.